So here you have the 2014 sample paper. This is paper 2. This is junior cert ordinary level. And the first question that comes up, so we are told that there's a bag that contains red discs, blue discs and white discs. In an experiment, each student in a class of 24 takes out a disc, records the colour and replaces it. This is repeated 10 times. The results from the class are recorded in the table. So I'm just going to write the results that they have. So I'm just after writing the table that they have given us in the question. So there's red has come up 123 times when the students were taking it out of the bag. Blue has come up 78 times and white has come up 39 times. So the first question is, in your opinion, why is the number for red? So the frequency of red is the amount of times that a student takes a red out of the bag. So why is the frequency of red greater? Why are they getting more reds out of the bag than blue? Well, I would say that there is likely to be more red discs in the bag. That's why the red are getting pulled out of the bag all the time. There is most likely more red discs in the bag than the other colors. So the next thing it asks is part B is to complete the table above. So the first thing is we have to add up all the frequencies and get the total. So 123 plus 78 plus 39 and we get 240. And they said that there was 24 students in the class and each of them does it 10 times. So that's right then. So the relative frequency is the frequency it came up over the total. So the frequency of red is 123 over the total, which is 240. So I'm just going to get that as a decimal. So 123 over 240 and I'll just write up here 0.5125. And then for the relative frequency of blue, it'll be 78 over 240. So I'm going to get that as a decimal, 78 over 240. And I get 0.325. And then for white, it'll be 39 over 240. So 39 over 240. And then I'll get 0.61625. And then it says percentage of the total. So that means the relative frequency, which is this figure, the decimals, by 100. So if I multiply this by 100, I'll get 51.25. If I multiply that by 100, I'll get 32.5. And if I multiply this by 100, I'll get 16.25. And then it says, use the results from the table to estimate the probability. So the relative frequency just says that in 240 times we take out something out of the bag, 51.25% of the times it's going to be red, 32.5% of the time it's going to be blue, and 16.25% of the time is going to be white. When we do a large number of trials, so we've repeated this 240 times, we can say that the relative frequency is pretty much going to be the probability that we're going to get a red out of the bag. So they give us a little box here, so they give colour, red, blue, white, and then we're asked to fill in the probability of each. So the probability scale goes from 0 to 1, where 0 to 1, where 0 is impossible and 1 is certain, and then 0.5 is 50-50. So the probability that we're going to have red, blue, or white, we're going to have to put it as a decimal. So the probability that we get red is going to be pretty much equal to the frequency, because we're after repeating the trial 240 times. So the probability is 0.5125. The probability for blue is 0.325, and the probability for white is 0.1625. And the next question is, Anne says that there are 10 discs in the bag. Is this a reasonable suggestion? So the first thing, if there are 10 So the frequency of the red, so say when we had 240 trials, well, 0.51, say when we had 240 trials, 0.5125 is the amount of time that a red came up. But if we had, say, 10 discs in the bag, well, the probability that we would get out, the frequency of getting out, the relative frequency of getting out a red would give us, say, if we multiply the amount in the bag by the relative frequency, we should get how many come out that are red. So 0.5125. So this will give the expected probability of getting a red. So I get 5.125, but I can't get 5.125 discs. So I would say that maybe there aren't 10 discs in the bag, because it doesn't work out that. And say if I tried 10 multiplied by 0.325, do I get a whole number? 10 by 0.325, and I don't get a whole number either. So it's unlikely that there's 10 discs in the bag. And then based on the information in the table, how many discs of each colour do you think are in the bag? So I would say a number that if I multiply it by this, I get a whole number, by this I get a whole number, and by this I get a whole number. So I'll just write the red, the blue, and the white. So red was, I'm just going to write it as a fraction first, so 123 over 240. And then we had 78 over 240. And then 39 over 240. So I'll just see if this simplifies any way. So this simplifies into 41 over 80, and then the 78 over 240 simplifies to 13 over 40, and then 39 over 240 simplifies to 13 over 80. Well, I could put these all as fractions over 80. So I could put this as a fraction over 80, so it would be 26 over 80. So if I had 80 discs in the bag, 41 that I pull out will be red, 26 that I pull out will be blue, and then 13 will be white. So I would say 18 is a reasonable suggestion for the amount of discs that are in the bag. Thank you.